So it's Black History Month, and I know what you're thinking. Ah, Black History Month. A time where we can all come together to learn more about Black culture and discover the inspiring stories that take place within their community. Unfortunately, it's also the month where everyone gets offended. I don't know why, but it's like everyone steps up their A game to try to get triggered. And it's always between the crazy people from Los Angeles versus the crazy people that consider themselves patriots. Wait a minute. But that's not the problem here. The problem is, I'm not a controversial person, so I can't milk these topics for money. I can't even say the N-word. But Season 1 Satumi wouldn't have had this problem. In fact, he made a controversial video about it. He talked about how cool black people are. What a rascal Season 1 Satumi was. I guess that's what they call character development. So being a good little PC boy, I decided to consume my favorite piece of black entertainment, Twitter. So I was scrolling through my timeline filled with memes and hot takes when I came across my favorite place to get my gaming news, Kotaku. See, it's like otaku, but they put a K in front of it. The K stands for K. Now I was checking out their highlighted articles, and one of them caught my attention. 4 months after release, Super Mario Party has never gotten an update, and I just became very depressed because my boy Waluigi never got to Smash and had to settle with Super Mario Party. And no updates means nobody is playing his game. And seeing Waluigi get cucked again made me feel really warm. So I clicked on this link that said Overwatch porn, but alas, it wasn't Overwatch porn, but an article about it. And then I became very cold, so I started to read to boil my brain. An article titled, What I Learned from Watching a Great Deal of Overwatch Porn by, Ms. Gray. Now, Ms. Gray has a playground of articles that she has written, some involving adult themes, which is good, because I wouldn't want a normal person to write about my place of worship. They would get a lot of things wrong, and generally be seen as ignorant. Now if she lived amongst us, like an anthropologist conducting field research, maybe this article won't be so bad after all. But before we even get started, I'd like to say that as somebody who has played a great deal of Overwatch, and by that I mean I watched 2 Donkey videos, 1 Hanzo montage, and a bunch of TikToks about wanting to be Tracer, I'd like to say that I am completely qualified to represent the Overwatch community. I'll make sure that our favorite gamer girls are not slut-shamed by the media. Just because these girls like to have sex doesn't mean they don't deserve our respect. Now, onto the article.
This post is so incredibly not safe for work, even though I tried really hard to crop the images for minimum genitalia.
Now why would you do something so ridiculous? I want the full story. I don't want the censored bipartisan version. Actually, another thing, why am I even able to read this? Why is this not age-gated? I know sex sells, but if I have to censor titties on YouTube for fear of termination, how come Kotaku can just display them for free? I bet you didn't even ask those girls for consent. Now their sex tapes are public knowledge.
It's hardly surprising that fictional CGI characters in porn are able to bend their bodies like sweaty muscles, but it makes me feel 90 years old.
First of all, don't call them fictional. That's offensive. They're actual human beings, and they deserve to be treated equally. Secondly, you have to realize that these women have been training for their entire lives to kill each other in battle. Of course they're going to be more flexible than the average human. If it makes you feel old, my only advice is to get in the arena and to start eliminating people. The more play of the games you get, the better your sex life.
One particular clip featured Farah being double penetrated, and I just couldn't stop worrying about the
perennial tearing. Okay, you know what? That's actually pretty funny. If anyone actually gets offended by this statement, they're probably an incel.
But thirdly, and most importantly, the quality is so very, very high. My knowledge of video game related porn extends about as far as that live action Pokemon porn with a haunted Pikachu Pennywise creature that doesn't so much scream sexy
as it does just regular screaming. What the f are you? Wait, do you mean Dikachu? Oh my god. Why the hell do you know Dikachu? Out of all the mainstream Pokemon parodies, you cite Strokemon? Not the Brazzers Pokemon Go parody, not the countless amount of Rule 34 artwork, but Strokemon? Whoever exposed you to this horrifying image is a f***ing asshole.
But, as someone who wasn't really aware that 3D animated porn existed in such quality, quantity, and specificity, I'm impressed, even if you, dear reader, are over it.
Well, aren't you arrogant? Just because you have the privilege of living a normal life doesn't mean you can just treat us like we're subhuman. This is our culture. You're miswriting about our heritage to thousands of young ignorant minds out there. Don't humor them by saying that you're impressed by the quality of art from people you never even considered paying attention to. We deserve the right to exist on our own terms. We don't need your fucking approval, and we don't need you to be impressed. We already know you're going to be impressed because our culture is beautiful.
Of course, it's not all sunshines and daisies in Overwatch Pornland. It has a lot of the same issues as the porn industry as a whole. Farah always seems to be portrayed as far wider than she is, Bridget is heavily slimmed down, and there's no sign of Zarya and very few videos involving Mei. It's clear that the people making these videos are into a very specific, predominantly white, and almost always skinny version of women.
That is an observation that might be true if you only have a superficial experience of our culture. If you took the effort to dive past the mainstream, you would find plenty of porn of everybody. Sure, some girls have more lewds compared to others, but that's only because they were there first. Give it time, and we will have an equal amount of lewds of everybody. Farah being portrayed with lighter skin. I understand that's a huge problem, you know, the blacker the berry. And I get it. Colorism is a horrible thing that most people just sweep under the rug. But that's a problem with society, not porn. People watch porn because they want to fulfill a fetish or a fantasy. Skinny white women might seem like the most popular, because surprise, when something is popular, it means a majority of people like it. But there are tons of people that are into other kinds of women that come in all shapes and sizes. And there's tons of porn of that too. All you need to do is show some effort and look for it. Which you clearly didn't do, because you didn't mention Sombra or even Symmetra. You know, the characters that aren't white. And in some cases, Symmetra is usually portrayed with even more darker skin, because surprise, there are some people that actually like dark-skinned girls. The fact that you didn't even mention this proves that even you are willing to normalize colorism. And you can't claim ignorance, because I don't even know who these characters are, but I took the effort to look them up because I wanted to see porn of them. And another thing, even if it's true that porn normalizes what we consider attractive, if that were the case, why doesn't everyone have a skinny white girlfriend? Because people are different and they're unique, and they're not just a statistic for a stereotype. They might even get into a relationship with someone that some people might even consider butt f***ing ugly. And even then, there have been countless studies that exposure to porn as a leisure activity does not make people monsters. The effects are so minimal that every study ends up being inconclusive, which gives me the confidence to say that the people that watch porn are not monsters, but if you keep calling them monsters, some of them might actually believe it. You also mention it as a lack of diversity and how it will hurt the self-esteem of others. And I don't know what the hell you're talking about, because there's literally porn of everything. Why are you trying to objectify minorities? Besides, we do a great job representing all kinds of people by giving them dicks. If you're going to talk about diversity, you neglect to mention the biggest concern our society has when it comes to representation. And that's the fact that everybody that's f***ing these girls has a giant dick. There's a severe lack of dick diversity in Overwatch porn, and why is that a problem, you may ask? Well, if the porn industry and the game industry showcases conventionally attractive, huge giant dicks over all other dick types, that's going to become the default for desirability. That default in turn affects the self-esteem of people who don't look like that, as well as the general consensus on what's considered hot, which is to say, acceptable. And the last thing of note.
There's also a fair bit of really nasty homophobia and transphobia that I found among some of the creators of Overwatch videos. Apart from how bigoted and wrong it is to be like that in the modern day, it's always dismaying to see porn dominated by assholes in more than one way. Straight men aren't your only audience, you know.
Yeah, no shit. Why do you think gay porn exists? If you weren't such a homophobe, you'd know about McHanzo. Now, I won't defend or even justify homophobia and transphobia. I won't even deny that these problems exist. It's a discourse worth discussing. But where did you find such comments that would lead to this conclusion? You just made an assumption. The least you can do is screenshot them, provide evidence. Unfortunately, it's also the month where everyone gets offended. You took the effort to censor the vaginas, but you didn't even bother to find the one homophobe amongst the comment sections to exploit, because you probably couldn't find one. Because when they're watching their favorite Overwatch character get pounded by a huge dick, they're not thinking about how much they hate gay people, they're trying to jack off! which is arguably the gayest thing they could probably do, besides sticking a stick up their ass. And I definitely don't think you pledged to an animator's Patreon or read through their Twitter history just to find a controversial opinion, because you're not trying to experience or learn about our culture, you're trying to find ammo to dehumanize us and to please your echo chambers. Well, I'm sick of being disrespected and ashamed just because I like to watch unrealistic jiggly boobies. I'm going to lower my right hand on my groin and I'm going to make this pledge. I'm a pervert and I'm proud. It's called hentai and it's art. And remember, no stroke, no woke. Buy my shitty t-shirts at teesprings.com. Link in the description below. Also, make sure to subscribe and hit that bell button, because just like journalism, I have to treat you like you're in the 7th grade, because if I don't tell you, you're not going to do it. So help me boost my ego so I can continue to never make anything like this again. And we can all go back to the good old days where Satumi actually made anime videos instead of trying to start drama in order to stay relevant, like all the other YouTubers out there. Because unlike other YouTubers, I don't have the talent of being able to talk nonsense for 10 minutes. By the way, I also have a Twitter, go follow it so you know what I'm thinking, and an Instagram where I post stolen memes, and the Neet server where I suffer from a god complex. Oh, and a Patreon if you want to support me and my channel so that one day I don't have to constantly game YouTube's algorithm in order to grow. Has it been 10 minutes yet? Can I f***ing go now? Jesus Christ, how the f*** do people make careers off this crap? If you didn't notice, I'm talking very slowly for this purpose. I f***ing hate YouTube. The K stands for ko, which is another word for small in Japanese. If you meant the other word, I think you might be a little racist.